And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending time with us. Thanks so much for calling into the program and supporting the show here by reaching out to our show hotline. Greatly appreciate all those calls. We've had an uptick in calls lately. I've had a lot of people reaching out, wanting to know more about, buying, selling, investing, refinancing. They're reaching out. Mark Haye, they want to find out from Mark, how can they take advantage of the tax code, especially for the high income earners. So we got Mark Haye in studio with us. Capital Tax and Wealth is his company, and he's going to be with me on May 6th at 6 o'clock. We're going to be over at Crown and Bull. It's an awesome restaurant right there on Dunedin, Main Street in Dunedin. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance. Mark, give us a little teaser of what we're going to talk about. It's going to be a W-2 income way that you can utilize the tax code to save money on taxes. And it's not just for W-2. I mean, primarily, yeah, but, even other people that have...
W-2 works well.
Yeah.
1099 works well as well. Business owners can do the same thing, but we're going to use real estate, and we're going to use one of the greatest things in the tax code, which is a non-cash paper loss.
Okay.
So we can take some losses on your income without having to put up money.
Yes.
And so it's a big opportunity for people, and so we're definitely going to take care of that. May 6th at 6 p.m. next week.
Non-cash paper loss. I love that. And then, we're going to provide appetizers and first drink compliments of Dominic Rock with First American Home Warranty. So if you don't have a warranty, you might want to talk to him there as well. But, lower your tax bill, build passive income, leverage real estate, utilize the short-term rental strategy. There's a lot of different ways you can use it. You can buy real estate, renovate it, rent it, refinance it, and repeat it, the Burr method. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Also, Andrew Kube on the second half of the program. He's U.S. Commercial and Business Capital. We always get a bunch of calls when Andrew's on as well because 100% financing. A lot of people don't realize the federal government set aside up to $5 million for every small business owner in America. And it's one of the most kind of misknown strategies that people don't understand, especially for business owners. So Andrew Kube is going to elaborate on that. For business owners, how you can get 100% financing. Also in the news, Tampa businessman jailed over a backyard guest house, we also call those ADU, additional dwelling units, at the center of a 5-year battle. Now get this, he got permits from the city, still wound up in jail. This judge demanded that he be arrested and put in jail. So we'll cover that story here as well, since we're a lot in the real estate space here. Consumer Quarterback Show, we're powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, and we always feature our real estate listings live on air. It's part of a strategy that's helped us sell faster for more money with less headaches. We have one of the highest list price to sell price ratios in all of Tampa Bay, helping our sellers maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of their real estate listings. We got 11101 Sumner Road in Waimama, brand new listing, just hit the market. This is a farm for sale down in Waimama, Florida. Brand new listing on the list today down in Waimama, Florida. It's 11101 Sumner Road. We'll come back to that one. Let's look at 9078 Birmingham Avenue in Weeki Wachee, Florida. Seller is motivated. This one's 2 acres of land, fenced in, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage, 2452 square feet, almost 2 acres of land, turnkey, ready to move in, beautiful interior, lighter color on the flooring in the kitchen. You got the white countertops, stainless steel appliances, gorgeous property, heavily wooded as well, so you got nice privacy there and some cover. 9078 Birmingham Avenue, Weeki Wachee, Florida. Great opportunity to see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com, and you can see our radio TV show experts at ConsumerQB.com. Check us out online and link over to our YouTube channel at ConsumerQB.com.
Only in America, dreaming in red, white, and blue.
All right, we got Mark Haye back in studio with us, and Mark, we, a lot of the videos are getting a lot of play too now. I love that. So we've got the radio talk show, we've got the syndication on all the major sites, so people listeners out there, if you're following us on the radio, make sure you follow us on social at Brandon Rimes 1 at CQB Show. And Mark, hey, you got your handles out there as well. Where they can follow
absolutely. And it's going to be, like I said, a really good event next week, Wednesday the 6th at Crown and Bowl in Dundee at 6 p.m. And we're going to be talking about leveraging real estate to offset a massive amount of taxation in your W-2 income or even 1099 income. But real quick, that NFL draft was, just happened.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the people that were drafted, and it matters where you live. And I'll give you an example. Fernando, who the quarterback, went number 1 to Las Vegas Raiders.
Right.
And he'll probably have the biggest contract, obviously. But he'll pay 0 in state income tax, because, Nevada doesn't have any state income tax. Just like every player that was drafted to Tampa Bay are going to have 0 state income tax.
Right.
Now, I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan, so Reese, he's a linebacker for Ohio State. He gets drafted, I think, 6th or 7th or something by the Giants. Guess what his state income tax bill is going to be?
Oh, boy, he's 13.5
$5.7 million.
Just on the state?
He has to just pay state. Okay.
So he already signed his contract.
Correct.
Wow.
So that's just state. We're not talking federal. We're not talking anything else.
Wow.
So it matters where you live, who you vote for, the policies that are in place. Because
Absolutely.
if he comes to Tampa Bay, guess what? He has almost $6 million.
He could have bought a home free and clear, couldn't he?
Free and clear.
Big house.
But that goes to now the state at $5.7 million. That's a massive difference.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, the number 1 player, Heisman winner, pays 0. Zero.
He almost paid for one of their new grocery stores they're going to put
Yeah.
up there, right? Supposedly the grocery stores cost like $30 million, so he's about a third of the way there, or maybe less than a third. But and then I love that story because you've got $30 million that the city plans to cost for this, and it's not going to be here till like 28 or something, 27, 28. And then Aldi says, "Well, hey, we built ours for like $7-8 million.
Right, exactly.
So what's going on there?
Of the cost,
Yeah.
But it's crazy, when I was 20 and Reese is 20 years old, which is wild that this kid's only 20. But anyways, when I was 20, 21, we didn't really appreciate taxation. We didn't really know,
Exactly.
And just like he probably doesn't really know yet, how massive of a tax bill that's going to be, and certainly hopefully has a really nice career and makes a lot of money. But to give up $5.7 million on a state income tax when other players are going to pay $0,
let me ask you
is
this:
so much money.
What do you think about the idea? It's kind of been floated. I've heard it out there. A couple different influencers floating this idea because in America, we're having less than 2.2 the kids per family, right? So that's the amount that's just somehow statistically says, hey, we're going to at least sustain our population. But now it's like 1.58, right? So what do you think about the idea of the IRS or the government saying, hey, if you have more than 4 kids, maybe 3 kids, now you don't have to pay income tax? Or the other one that's been floated is no income taxes till you're 25 years old or maybe 30 years old. What do you think about that?
I mean, incentivize people to have families again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's so expensive to raise a family. That's the reason why people are having less kids.
Yeah.
When our grandparents were raising kids and in working age, they could live off of one income.
Right.
And then the spouse could take care of the kids and then they could function. Now today, you really need 2 incomes.
Yeah.
Especially if you got 2 or 3 kids at home. And especially if you want to go to a private school or, there's things that people want to do that just cost so much money.
Yep.
And I do think, we talk about tax incentives and breaks and using the tax code. It would be interesting to reward people, to have a bigger family. But then again, you look at the benefits of, welfare. People will have kids to get on the system, and every kid that they get, let's say it's $1,000 a month from the government, and then now you got people abusing it too. So,
but the difference there, the key difference there, at least my understanding of it, is that in that situation where the welfare situation, it has to be a fatherless home or a one-parent home is what I believe, and that's where a lot of the influencers, Charlie Kirk, et cetera, would say, well, they're incentivizing a single-parent household, and that's what's caused a lot of problems in some of the minority or less lower income households.
Yeah, and it's been proven that a father in the home makes a massive difference compared to not having a father in the home.
Yeah.
And we could go through all the statistics and prison time and no prison and
exactly.
What we could go through it, but having 2 parents in a household makes a massive difference in a kid's life, in a family's life, and I just feel like we veered away from that type of mentality.
Yeah.
And we're just all out here just we're going to do it by ourselves and raise a village, and like really need to have a husband, a wife. Really should be married than have kids, not have kids and maybe get married.
Yeah, there's something to the golden rule there and the Ten Commandments. It's all there for a reason. It has wisdom. That's the true meaning of wisdom is the fear of God. Understanding like, hey, this is the way, this is the strategy, this is what works, this is what we command. And so it's interesting to see how the tax code could influence that. But the NFL draft, I didn't really follow a whole lot. I saw the Bucs got a running back, I think. I didn't follow.
Yeah, they did good.
The
And downtown St. Pete put on a first ever draft party.
Cool.
Which was unbelievable. They did a great job. They closed down streets. They put up big screens. They had vendors and they had games for the kids. And
nice.
It was a very, very cool event. I thought they did an excellent job. But, I'm watching it thinking, man, if I got drafted by San Francisco, L.A., Chicago, New York, I'm thinking, oh, man, 13%. California's 13% state income tax.
Yeah.
13%. If you make $1 million, let's say, in your contract, that's $130,000 a year that's gone. Times it by 50, you make $50 million. It's at 13%. That's a lot of money.
What was it, Buffalo? Like where's the worst place, right? Buffalo, New York, maybe, right? As far as if I'm an athlete and I'm a top pick and the worst team's Buffalo, who was it? I think it was a couple quarterbacks back in the day said, nope, I'm not doing it. One of them ended up going to play in Canada. I'm forgetting who it was, maybe John Elway or one of those names, maybe one of the Manning brothers. But they said, nope, I'm not going there. I'm just letting you know if you draft me, you're going to end up trading me because I'm not going to go. I'm going to withhold. I'm going to wait a year or whatever.
I would love to be in Texas, Florida, Nevada, no state income tax. Tennessee.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's where I want to be. Because like I said, Reese, this kid, $5.7 million just in state income tax is a ton of money.
What was his total contract then?
Well, I think it's probably going to be close to $40 million or something. But then he's going to be in the highest tax bracket because he's W-2, so now he's in 37% federal. So if you make 40, that's 17 million that you're going to give to federal plus the 5.7. So now he's less than half of his money. So the biggest winner is going to be the government on his contract.
Well, he needs to come to our event on May 6th at 6 o'clock, and then we're going to show him how to buy some real estate, have some write-offs, take advantage of the Augusta rule. He's going to take advantage of some other strategies. Let's jump into those strategies. Mark Haye, Capital Tax and Wealth is his business. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes. Keller Williams Realty. So what are some of the strategies that people like that can take advantage of? Mark?
Yeah, so let's just use Reese. We're talking about Reese. He's a high-income earner, W-2 earner. He can't really do anything other than he needs to have some kind of a business. Okay. And, one thing that we're talking about, and which is a really good thing in the tax code and then Trump's new big, beautiful bill when he brought back what's called bonus depreciation. So all that means is instead of depreciating that real estate asset over 27.5 years, and we'll go through how you can do it, real estate professional, short-term rental, cost segregation on May 6th at 6 p.m., but you can then accelerate that all in 1 year. So, for example, if he says, I want to go buy $10 million properties, so he's going to do $10 million worth of properties in 1 year. I'm just saying that number because his numbers are way bigger than anybody else right now. And he does a cost segregation. He's a real estate professional, and he says, okay, I'm going to take, $5 million off of my income, as a bonus depreciation. $5 million in a 37% tax bracket, he would save $2.2 million just in taxes.
Right.
Just owning those properties.
Right.
And then those properties would cash flow him. And then, like you said, now all of a sudden you're a business owner. You can do other things like, I need a car to go to my properties, so I'm going to buy a car. And let's say he spent $50,000 on a car. Well, great. The bonus depreciation can go against the car, too. Now you take $50,000 off of his income, own the car. The car's for business. And so things start snowballing, and you get to own this asset that's appreciating. You get to depreciate it. It brings in income. And you're not going to play football forever. We're using this example. But that real estate could be something that he could use forever, and he could live off that once his income stopped for the NFL, and he could have this portfolio, take advantage of the tax code, and then all of a sudden he needs a home office. You got to have somewhere to work, to run your operation, to run your rental property. So all of a sudden now he could take home deduction, take a part of his rent, his mortgage, his utilities. He can go against his income, his car that he purchased, his cell phone, anything that's ordinary necessary expenses to run in these short-term rentals or the rental properties, he can now deduct it. Where if he doesn't do this type of planning, he's going to spend the money. It's going to happen. You're going to either give it to the government, or you can go and purchase these properties and maybe save $2, $3, $4 million a year in taxes. Who knows? it just depends on how big he wants to get.
Yeah.
But you get the point. We're going to go through this. Now, his zeros are a lot more than, what we're talking about, $150,000 a year, $500,000 a year. But, his zeros are obviously bigger at $40 million. But,
Well, you got a couple commas in there. Something like Ilhan Omar messed up on a couple decimal places and a couple commas.
only $30 million.
Apparently, we're coming in the next break, but I wanted to make this point real quick because everybody's, a lot of these leftists say tax the rich, right? The top 1% of earners in the U.S. pay approximately 40% of all federal income taxes, with individuals earning over $675,602 annually constituting this group. In 2023, the top 5% earners over $272,209 paid roughly 60% of all federal income taxes, contributing to over $1.27 trillion. Top 50% of earners contribute 97% of total revenue. So that's from USA Facts right here on my Google Pixel here. So quick break, right back. More with Mark Haye, 21st Century on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Capital, Tax, and Wealth as his business. The Consumer Quarterback Show online at consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. Are you a W-2 wage earner making $100,000 or more and feel like taxes are crushing you? What if you could legally reduce your W-2 income using real estate? With strategies like real estate professional status, short-term rentals, high earners are saving tens of thousands of dollars per year. Join us for our workshop and learn how to keep more of what you make. Wednesday, May 6th at Crown and Bull. Mark Haye and Brandon Rimes will be hosting a financial advising workshop for W-2 earners making $100,000 or more. Wednesday, May 6th at Crown and Bull, Main Street, Dunedin. RSVP by calling or texting 813-917-1894. It's a free event. We're going to buy you appetizers, and your first drink will be provided by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. brimes at kw.com, 813-917-1894, BRIMES at kw.com, 813-917-1894. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Did you know that we buy houses cash? We can close quickly for a all-cash offer on your real estate properties, residential, commercial, even vacant land. We'll buy your property cash. No cleaning, no showings, and no hassles. You can even possibly stay in your home post-closing. Call Brandon at 813-917-1894. Submit the email at consumerqb.com or call 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. We buy houses cash and fast.
Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. brimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. brimes at kw.com. All right, let me tell you about my friends at Bayview Paints Plus, top-tier window, solar panel, and gutter cleaning, Christian company with godly morals. Find them on Yelp, Facebook, and Instagram at Bayview Paints Plus, or call 813-917-1894. Window cleaning, solar panels, gutter cleaning at Bayview Paints Plus, 813-917-1894.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rimes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, we're in studio with Mark Haye, Capital Tax and Wealth. We're talking about our May 6th at 6 o'clock event, going to be at Crown and Bowl. Later on, I want to get into this story as well. Local businessman jailed over backyard guest house, also called an additional dwelling unit at the center of a 5-year battle. Get this, he paid permits, or he got the permits and paid for them. So it's an interesting story. We'll have to unravel that in the next segment here coming up. Before we do, we got a brand new listing here at 11101 Sumner Road in Wimauma, Florida. Brand new listing, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This is 1,620 square feet. Now, it's kind of a mixed use because you have a dwelling on it. You've got a single-family dwelling, but you also have 4.49, 4.5 acres of fully functional farmland in Wimauma that produces between $6,000 and $8,000 in monthly vegetable revenue. So the property has 2 greenhouses, mostly fenced, zoned AR, and you also have various residential and agricultural uses. You also have a well-maintained 1,620 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath manufactured home with central air, open layout, and you're close to 301 and I-75. The farm offers convenient regional access. 11101 Sefner Road, Wimauma, Florida. Great opportunity for that self-sustaining family, a family that might want to, have that type of a lifestyle. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com, and you can see all of our radio, TV show expert contributors at consumerqb.com. All right, what other misconceptions do you see out there, Mark? A lot of times people just, like the whole tax the rich thing. I just went over the numbers there. What are some of the other biggest things? We talked about the Augusta rule last week. What else is topical?
Yeah, so let me give you an example. So in the state of Florida, if you make $250,000, right, and we're going to talk about this next week at May 6th at 6 p.m., but $250,000 state of Florida, you're going to keep about $180,000, because $70,000 is federal, and that's the money that we're talking about that we could save you.
Yeah.
So you could save $70,000.
Wow.
That's $6,000 a month that you can have in cash flow that's going to the government.
Yeah.
You're just owning this real estate, and we're going to go through how it works. The same $250,000, if you live in the state of California, you're only keeping $135,000.
Wow.
After federal income tax, state tax, etc., you're only keeping $135,000. That's a $50,000 difference. Again, you don't have to be in Florida, but every state can do what we're talking about and take advantage of the strategy. But again, the reason I say that is it matters where you live, who you vote for, all these policies that are in place, and that's real money. That's only $250,000 that we're talking about, and you can only keep $135,000 compared to $180,000, and then we could show you how to keep all of it. But unfortunately, if you have that state income tax of 13%, really can't get around it.
Yeah.
Where Florida, we have 0.
And
so all we got to do is talk about federal income tax.
And think about it. You have some people that have been doing that for 10, 15, 20 years at the same job. They're getting W-2 income. Oh, I'm comfortable. I'm a salesman for, a nice tractor company. I've had uncles that have sold for, tractor supply companies. They make 6 figures. They make well into the 6 figure. You got car salesmen that are making, good money, W-2'd. I know trade companies, sometimes some of the salespeople, they're making high income W-2'd, but they're overpaying in taxes so many times.
Many times. And we can utilize assets, that are income producing, that appreciate, that we can depreciate on paper and non-paper loss, which is a massive situation to offset. Because typically you got to spend money to get a deduction. Like, I'm going to give, $10,000 to this church and I'm going to take a $10,000 deduction. You spent the money. You still got to make the money to do it. But a non-paper loss just means that. You don't have to spend the money.
Non-cash paper loss.
You can take it as a massive loss and maybe keep $50,000, $60,000 in taxes a year.
I love that.
Just purchasing one property at a time. So May 6th, 6 p.m. next week. Come out. And it's in Dunedin, Crown and Bowl. And we're going to go through this, and everybody's going to leave there knowing how to do this.
Wednesday night. Come on out. Mark Haye, always a pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in. Capital Tax and Wealth, that's Mark Haye. Non-cash, paperless, write-offs. Awesome stuff. All right, coming up, Andrew Kube, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital, 100% financing for business owners. And our story of the day as well. Find out about this Tampa businessman jailed over a backyard guest house. Quick break, right back.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. Consumer quarterback Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. We appreciate you spending time with us, supporting the show, calling into the hotline, reaching out to the show hotline here. And, we have 80 different categories, 45 plus show partners where we help you. Everything from real estate related, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, a lot on the mortgage side, of course, real estate side. We can help you there. And we've got blue collar companies as well. If you want to paint your house, you want to get an inspection, we get a roof done, electrical, HVAC. We've got those contractors here locally as well. And we also have the absolute best and white collar as well. So blue collar, white collar, attorneys, CPAs, so many different ways we help you. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we are going to be talking with Andrew Kube here in just a moment, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital on the line with us today. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We always like to feature our real estate properties live on air, maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of our real estate listings. So we've got some really nice opportunities here in Tampa Bay. A mix of residential, commercial, vacant land. We've got about 50 current listings with the Platinum MVP team. And we've got 369 West Winds Drive in Palm Harbor. Motivated seller here. Great opportunity to buy. This is a 322, 1414 square feet, just under quarter acre lot. Completely renovated and updated. Ceiling fans throughout, updated bathrooms, stainless steel appliances, large island kitchen island there. Beautiful property, primary bedroom with an ensuite. You also have Baywood Village, which is a true Gulf front community, offering optional HOA, just $60 for an optional HOA. So it's a boating community. It's a golf cart friendly community as well, with a clubhouse. And you have access to the Gulf. There is a community boat ramp where you can back your boat down and you're off into the beautiful waters of Tampa Bay. Great opportunity to buy. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor, Florida, right here in Pinellas County. 10001 Waterworks Lane in Riverview. Another beautiful listing in Riverview. This could be commercial or residential. It's kind of a unique situation here. You got a 2-2 property at 1765 square feet, private, gated 2 acres on the lake, 1765 square foot building with detached 2-car garage. The owner currently utilizes it as an office for their firm, but it could be easily remodeled to the specifications that you're looking for. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, right on a lake. Beautiful 2 acres of land on a lake. 10001 Waterworks Lane, Riverview, Florida, Hillsborough County. You can see all of our listings online at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And you can see all of our radio, TV show expert contributors at consumerqb.com.
Yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
Andrew Kube, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital, back on the show. And Andrew, I love the updates. I love the stories that you have from the trenches of lending. You've been in lending for quite a while, and a lot of people have misconceptions around business loans and commercial loans. How's your day going? What you got to say today, my friend?
Hey, Brandon. Thanks for having me on the show again. So we're basically helping business owners get the money to start businesses, buy businesses, grow their existing business, and franchise. And we really are encouraging them to, and we're not encouraging them, we're showing them the numbers, Brandon. We have clients that, they'll call me and they've been leasing their property for their business and paid out, hundreds of thousands of dollars up to millions of dollars in rent every month. And they don't know that there's been money set aside by the government through the Small Business Administration. Each business has $5 million to grow. So if you're out there and you're looking to do any of one of those things, buy a business, start a business, grow your existing business, or franchise, there's been $5 million set aside for your business. So what we do as a company, we help we help them use that $5 million. We show them how to get to the $5 million right away or over a period of time, depending on where they are and what stages they are in their business. And, commercial real estate is an important part for business owners, and they should really take advantage of these programs that are out there where they can potentially buy commercial real estate for their business for no money down. And this is a program we have called the Rent Replacement Program, where business owners that have been in business for 2 years, they have maybe a 660 credit score or higher. If it's lower, we'll get it up. They show a profit on their tax returns, and they run out of space. They're in a bad location. They can't grow their business where they currently are. And there are programs out there where you can potentially buy commercial real estate for your business for no money down, walk away with cash, vehicles, equipment, pay off high interest rate business debt, rehab the property that you're buying, and for no money down, which is crazy. And so the way we calculate that is and this is just the layman's version, but it'll be easier to understand. But let's say you have a business out there that's been in business for 2 years, and they're showing $100,000 in profit to the IRS. Then what we're doing is we're saying, okay, well they're paying $5,000 a month in rent, and that's getting ready to go away. So now when we qualify the clients, we're using that $100,000 in profit, and we're using $60,000, which is $5,000 a month times 12 months, and we use $160,000 to qualify them. We also have add backs potentially like one-time business expenses, depreciation. But in this example, it's $160,000. 8.5 times is the magic number. That's where we start. So we take $160,000 and we multiply that times 8.5, and that comes to $1.36 million. So in that scenario, that business owner qualifies for a $1.36 million loan for no money down. If they find a property to buy for $1 million, now that leaves them $360,000 left over to pay off debt, get cash, equipment, vehicles, rehab the property, whatever they need in addition. And that's how the no money down program works. What happens a lot of times, Brandon, is the client will look at this and say, Andrew, I really want this property over here for $2 million. This is really going to do everything that we need. How does that loan look? Well, you only qualified for the 1.36 for no money down. So if you want to buy this $2 million property, this is how we'd set it up. We potentially, let's say the client said, hey, I want to buy the property. I'm going to need $200 in cash, and I want to buy this vehicle over here for $100,000 or this equipment for $100,000. Now we're doing a loan for $2.3 million. In that situation, the client would put 10% down potentially, which would be $230,000. But at the closing table, they'd walk away with $200 in cash, and they get $100,000 for their vehicle for equipment. So they're actually walking away with more money than they started, and that's how it works. When you scale, I wanted to show that example because when you scale, the way that we set this up is if you do have to put money down, you're getting all that back at closing.
Yeah.
So that's how the program works, but we do that. It's a great need. There's plenty of property in Tampa Bay right now for sale in the small office, retail, industrial, restaurant, in a space that you can put your business in. And as long as you operate 51% of that space for your business, you can lease out 49% or less, and the lender doesn't care. It's actually an ace in the hole if we have money coming in. But that's the rule there.
Yeah, that's such a super cool idea. The way that you can play that shell game, structure the loans to bring in, money at closing. So if you do put money out of pocket, it's almost like a shell game. You're just moving money around, and then you're able to have that additional money.
The lender wants the loan to be paid back, right? So they're giving you enough money, whatever, as long as it makes sense, and you can take this money or buy this equipment or do whatever you do to help grow your business, create more jobs, improve the economy. That's what the loan is designed to do.
Yeah.
So you're going to get enough money to be successful. They don't want to take all the money for the down payment and not leave you enough to run your business. So you're going to be able to get
Yeah, Andrew Kube, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes. And, you know, it's interesting. I was just pulling up some stats as we were talking there. There are over 36 million businesses in the United States, with small businesses comprising 99.9% of all of those businesses. Small businesses are defined as those with fewer than 500 employees, represent roughly 33 to 36 million establishments, and employ over 61 million workers, and make up 43.5 to 46% of the private sector workforce. Andrew, it's really interesting to see those stats because you hear it oversaid, but small business is the backbone of the United States economy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so this is just, this money the Small Business Administration has set aside for us. It used to be per business, per person. Now it's per business. So I have some clients that will, they might have an insurance business and they have a used car lot. Their car lot's got $5 million and their insurance business has $5 million. So, there's money out there for you, whether you need a lot of money or you just need, 20, 30 grand. There's money out there. And what we do is we help these business owners find the cheapest money for their, for their projects. I've been able to establish hundreds of contacts with different lenders, banks, credit unions, family office, just all types of different money that's out there depending on the client's need. And so that's what we do. We put our relationships against each other sometimes in the end to really help that client get a deal that they're not going to be able to get on their own.
Right.
And we do that for business owners as well as for commercial real estate investors.
Yeah, I love it. Andrew, can you give us a real life example of a business owner that you helped, something where you can kind of walk through the strategy and how that worked? Because the big difference here, folks, is that if you walk into just your big bank on the corner, maybe you've done some business with them over the years, but they're just not going to have the amount of programs or the access or really, frankly, the will to go out and shop like Andrew can. Andrew, is that a fair summarization of how your business model works?
Yeah, so, we speak to probably somewhere around 50 new clients a month, or I do personally. And so, everybody's got different requests. So, it's more important to have those relationships established. So when I have clients that come to me, that not only can we help them find money, but we can give them multiple options, right? I just don't like to, here's what you have and take it or leave it. We like to let people know what their options are and help them make educated decisions, based off of where their business is now or where their portfolio is now, if they're investors. And so, yeah, we've been able to establish these relationships. And because we do send these lenders a lot of business, they tend to work with us and help us get deals for clients that, even the clients that have banking accounts there can't even get, and that's what we've been able to do. But yeah, the advantage of using someone like me is, I'll give you some examples. We had a client that was looking to buy an investment property. It was a triple net lease property. It was around $3 million, and they'd gone to their bank. Their bank said they could get them, I think, a 6.375 interest rate on a 25-year amortization, which is a good deal on a commercial property. Well, for an investor, and we ended up talking to a couple of different banks on this. One bank said that, hey, they really wanted the business, and they said, hey, on this deal, what we'll do is we'll go to the bottom. We'll go to 5.8%. Usually we charge a point. And usually they were like 6.25. We'll go to 5.8. This deal is usually a point. We'll do 0.5%, and we'll do away with the prepayment penalty. And I said, well, that's an amazing deal. Next bank came in at 6, 1 point, and a prepay. Well, after the second bank thought that they had lost, once they realized they had lost the deal, they said, well, can we match it? I said, no, you can't match it, but you can beat it. And so they went from 6% down to 5.6. They went from 1 point down to 0.30, and they did away with their prepayment penalty. So that's just an example of how we work this deal. This client had spoken to their bank, who was offering the 6.375. We just saved him a few $100,000 in interest over the life of that loan.
Yeah.
So that's one scenario. A feel-good story. I have a lady right now that I'm working with. She's a single mom. She was raising two young kids. She was working two jobs, and her aunt died. And she went in. She went to the funeral and realized that she was not happy with the way that they had, they had an open casket, and she didn't like the way they had, put the makeup on or dressed her aunt up. So she was in that industry, and she got in. She's like, you know what? I want to learn how to help the deceased, look pretty in an open casket, or look presentable in an open casket. So she started working for a funeral home while she was, doing her hair and doing the nails on the side. That was, what she'd always done. And so she ended up, she realized in that business there was a lot of corruption, like, people overcharging people for different things. And she's like, I want to start my own funeral home. Well, she started her own funeral home, had 1,000 square foot, and she put herself in she's paying, rent, and she shows a profit on her tax returns. So she qualified for this no money down program. And she's basically buying property. She's putting a building on the property where she can now have her own services with the space that she needs to have a true funeral. And then she's able to now have 100 lots. Not when I say lots, there's 100 burial lots or that she can basically, now that she's got this property, now she has, and I think those go for, on average about $4,000 a piece just to have and so, here this lady now went from, working her way up to finding a niche to working for a funeral home to, having a space to have her own. And, now she's getting ready to be a multimillionaire. So, taking, and she's buying this property for no money down.
Yeah.
She couldn't do this. She couldn't get to this $4 million that she'll make off the, that she'll make off this property just for burial sites, know. And so it's, you see stories like this all the time, but, she didn't have 10% down. She didn't have 10% and 10% in reserves.
Right.
To do it, so, that's a feel-good story where you have somebody that basically is growing their business, leaving a legacy for their family because they're owning that real estate. And someday they're able to sell that business, or again, leave it to the children if they want it.
I love it. Reach out, 813-917-1894. Call the hotline, 813-917-1894. Andrew Kube, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Andrew, thanks for calling in. That was a great story, very inspirational. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
All right, my pleasure. All right, when we come back, homeowner jailed over a guest house construction. Find out about this Tampa homeowner who got permits from the city to build in his backyard but still ended up in jail. Quick break, right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Tired of long lines at the airport? Check out Tampa Bay's premier private jet source. I'm Brandon Rimes for Will Smith Aviation. Aircraft management, acquisition, and sales, luxury jet escapes, and packages. Check them out online. WillSmithAviation.com. That's WillSmithAviation.com. Or call the show. I'll put you right in touch directly with Captain Will Smith. AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com for all of your non-woke, American-made products. American values, Christian, conservative American values. Say hello to my business partner, Jim McCune at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com.
David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.com. Say hello to Shane Socash, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4009 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, online at David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.com for all of your precious metals and jewelry design. David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.com. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for Jason Coble, owner of Coble Law. Coble Law has been handling injury cases in Tampa for the past 14 years and has a specialized approach focused on limiting client cost and maximizing client profit. TampaWorkCompLaw.com, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Coble, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, personal injury law, and work comp law. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for our friends at TargetSurveying.net. For all of your surveying needs, land surveying firm providing services for real estate since 1992, and they are statewide. Check them out online, TargetSurveying.net. That's TargetSurveying.net. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb, like quarterback.com. Buying, selling, investing, or refinancing? We would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Now, this story's been in the news. We're going to hit this first thing here. This was just a crazy story. It's a Tampa businessman was jailed over backyard guest house at the center of a 5-year legal battle. A Tampa homeowner who got permits from the city to build in his backyard ended up in jail for it. There's reporting out of multiple venues here in Tampa Bay, but the city of Tampa approved the permits for the structure. However, a judge ruled that structure should not have been built on a non-buildable lot. And it sounds like a crock of you-know-what to me. I mean, unbelievable. What about land rights? What about, the city making a mistake? Who's at fault here? Without getting too much into the weeds and to the details, but there's, two sides to the story. A local, the neighbor says, well, we noticed footers being poured in this block that was a city block and wasn't buildable. As soon as they saw that, they questioned the city, and Mr. Martin was going on. This is what the attorney for the Babbitt family said, the complaining side. And then you have the other side. Weingart represents the Babbitt family in their lawsuit against Martin. He says that the guest house was legally allowed to be built on that lot, but the city approved and issued permits to allow Martin to build the structure in his backyard. Attorneys said Martin spent about $1 million to build a guest house, a pool, and a pickleball court. So what a crazy story. And then it ends up being where they said the demolition would cost about $800,000. So they actually asked him to demolish it. And here's a quote also out of from Richard Escobar, the criminal defense attorney. He says, I really admire Mr. Martin for telling this judge, no, I'm going to stay in jail if the alternative is to destroy this home. I'm going to stay in jail until my due process rights are carried through, says the criminal defense attorney. So stay tuned. We'll see how this one plays out. But I don't see how a municipality can issue permits. You follow through on those permits, and then some judge comes along and says, no, you weren't supposed to have those permits in the first place. To me, that does not sound right. That sounds like against the Constitution, against land rights, against natural light rights, and real estate rights. He has the right to use that property as he would seem fit. So, to me, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and if there's something I'm overlooking there. I just don't think I am. So, all right. Hey, another great show. We had Mark Haye on the front end talking about our May 6th at 6 o'clock event, Crown and Bull. You want to be there for our W-2 Investor Seminar. Come on out for that. We're going to buy you appetizers, drinks provided by First American Home Warranty. Donations will be accepted to benefit Will's Way Foundation, and that's going to help underprivileged children in Tampa Bay. Also, Andrew Kube with some great information, U.S. commercial and business capital, talking about how you can grow a business, start a business, and buy a business with his organization, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital. So, hey, we want you to go out there and please consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.